presentation or who are going to question. I don't have that. Do you know?
Hi, my name is Joe, and we also have Teresa on.
Okay. Hey, Joe, how are you? Good
Hi.
evening.
Right.
Good. Hi, how are you today?
Good.
Fine.
Hey, Teresa.
So let me share the agenda. You
Okay.
think that's probably best, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
But I did live stream. We started live streaming. I'm going to click record just to back us up. And hold on, let me.
Jeremy, are we ready?
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the agenda. Didn't have it
Okay.
ready.
What I think we should do, Jeremy, is I should introduce myself. Rich should introduce himself, and the speakers from United Cerebral Palsy.
Yeah, so before that, though, today is Thursday, April 7th, 2022. This is a joint meeting of the Health and Social Services and Housing Committees of Community Board 11 in the Bronx. It is 6:37 p.m.
We have quorum.
It doesn't look like we have a quorum for either committee, but we do have a guest, and it's important for the public. This meeting is being recorded, live streamed onto YouTube. So it's United Cerebral Palsy Associations of New York State, doing business as Constructive Partnership Unlimited. Unlimited. And this is regarding a group home relocation. So after introductions, guest, we open up to the public, the gallery session, and then if you don't have a quorum, I don't think you could. I think if you're the only one, Richard.
Hazel's on as well.
I don't think there's any point in reviewing the minutes.
Jeremy, not
Juanita?
sure if you heard, but Hazel's on as well.
Okay.
One as well.
Juanita,
Okay, good. So you do
Perfect. So housing has full quorum.
Yep. So old business, new business, and then the conduct statement. So these meetings can be heated. Just remember professional and hostile-free environment. And these rules are applicable to members of the public, community board, and staff. Basically, everybody here in this meeting. Please, stay muted. Do not interfere or disrupt. If you do too many times, we may have to ask you to leave. So if you're calling in, it's *6 to stay muted. And then, repeated violations. So public speakers, ideally you address the committee with your concerns and no electioneering, at least for other than position than committee board. I think that's it, right?
All righty.
I think we're good.
So, Rich,
you
you
wanna
want to
introduce?
introduce yourself first?
Sure. Yeah. My name is Rich Reynoso. I'm the co-chair of the Housing Committee. Glad to be here. Welcome, everyone. We're doing a joint subcommittee with some services. So I'm looking forward to a productive conversation. Sandy, go ahead.
All right, I'm Sandra Unger, or Sandy. I am the chair of the Health and Social Services Committee. And as you know, it is a joint session because it involves some health issues, social services, and housing. Is there anyone else from the committee? Any of the committees? Okay, I guess not. Then will the person from UCP introduce themselves?
Hi, my name is Joe Pancari. I'm the executive director for what we now is known as CP Unlimited, Constructive Partnerships Unlimited. I've been with CP for 15 years, representing our agency. Teresa?
Yes, hi, good afternoon. My name is Teresa Manuel, and I'm a VP of New Initiatives, and one of my responsibilities is to find appropriate locations for our individuals who are living in a residential setting.
All right, so now everyone knows who we are. I'd like to ask some questions, if I may, and hopefully these questions will also help the community understand. Which state group home are the 4 men coming from? And why is the state home closing?
Well, let me just clarify, please. So that there are 5 adults, 5 men that we're looking to support. All of these individuals are in their middle-aged men. They're known to us for many, many years. They attend our day settings. So for those of you who don't know, we've been in business for about 76 years, helping people with cerebral palsy and intellectual disabilities live in the community. We have about 200 sites across the 5 boroughs. We also cover Nassau County and Hudson Valley and Putnam County. So we're a well-established agency. We have about 3,000 employees working with us now. So we've been around for quite some time and well known to the city here. OPWDD, the Office of Persons with Developmental Disability, is our funding stream, but they also deliver direct services. There are a number of folks there. Yes.
Joe, so you're dealing basically with OMH.
No.
Is that correct?
No. OPWDD, the Office of Persons. No.
Okay.
Oh, that's mental health issues. This is developmental disabilities. So people have cerebral palsy, autism, intellectual disabilities, what used to be called mental retardation. These are all folks that, again, they have IQ issues. IQ is less than 70.
All right. Joe, any further details on the proposal?
Yes. So these individuals, again, are known to us for many years. They attend our day settings. In addition to residential, we also provide clinics for the people that we support, because most of the folks that we support many of them are in wheelchairs and they have a hard time getting doctors and health care. We also have a transportation company, all services around people with IDD. Our funding stream, OPWDD, is trying to make room for people that are currently living out of state. For one reason or another, there are children who were placed out of state and now they're adults and they want to bring them back here. So what OPWDD asked us to do, because we know these individuals, is to create a home for them so that they can then use those empty beds to bring those other folks back into their programs who are out of state right now. So these are 5 gentlemen who are pretty independent comparatively to most of the folks that we support. They go to church, they go to the movies, they go to the store. Some of them are travel trained, they travel on their own. But again, we're very familiar with them. We know them for a very long time. Some of them up to 25, 30 years. We're looking to provide a nice home for them. We are in the Bronx. We're in many communities in the Bronx currently. Residentially, we also have a day setting at 1880 Boston Road, right at the corner, also the Cross Bronx Expressway. We have a clinic there and a day setting, and these individuals will continue to attend their day setting at that site during the day. They'll be home during the weekends and after hours. We have our own transportation company. The buses will drop them off or pick them up in the morning. They will be supported 24 hours a day. We have staff a shift model. So basically goes 6 to 2, 2 to 10, and 10 to 6 in the morning, 7 days a week, every day of the year.
I think one of the questions that some people will ask is, these 5 men, were they originally from the Bronx or this area? Because you said
they're all living in the Bronx right now. Again, these are all homes that are currently operated. They're living in homes operated by the state.
Please wait.
No, that's not what you said.
1 second, please.
1 second.
Thank you.
And if you're a member of the public, we're asking you to please wait until after we ask our questions and they make their presentation.
Thank you.
Am I correct, Rich?
Yep, that's how we're going to do it.
Because I think some of the questions that we may ask may be the same ones that the public may be thinking about.
Agreed.
Sure, and I'm certainly happy to answer any question. These gentlemen all are from the Bronx. Again, they're currently living in state homes, in OPWDD homes, in the Bronx. That's why we're proposing to develop a home within the Bronx, with its neighborhoods that they know, and that again they'll continue to attend our day setting in the Bronx. Our goal is always try to keep people close to their families and close to neighborhoods where they're familiar with and have a very long history with.
Okay.
Right. Why is the state closing the home that these
Again,
men are in?
just to be clear, they're not closing the home. What they're doing is trying to create opportunities for other people who are living out of state. So they're asking us to move the individuals from their home into this new home at Kingsland, so they can create opportunities for people who are currently out of state and bring them back into New York, closer to their families and closer to their, where they grew up. So the state home is not closing, but they're creating opportunities for other people who are out of state to come back. And so they asked us to take these individuals because we know them, they're familiar with us, we're familiar with them, and we'd be able to provide a nice home for them in this neighborhood.
All right. Another question. We know that there is a facility run by UCP on Stillwell Avenue. Will the men be utilizing the services at that property?
No, again, that's our sister agency. We both started at the same time. That's now called Adapt. Stillwell is a wonderful place, but it's not our site. These folks would be attending our day hab program, which is again a place for adults to learn to be more independent and to learn skills. That's located at 1880 Boston Road in West Farms.
Okay.
Well,
Right.
And
When is the move supposed to happen?
Well, it's a process. We have to get the state to get the funding and come and make sure it's audit ready. It's probably a few months. I would probably say 3 to 6 months.
All right. What is the severity of these men's disabilities?
Well, they're all mild to moderate. Again, they're on our spectrum for people that we support. They're a little more skilled. As I said, some of them are travel trained and can travel on their own. They certainly have communication abilities. They'll be good neighbors.
Do any of them have jobs or places to go? I mean, other than the resources that you had mentioned.
My understanding is no, but that's one of the goals that once they come to us, we do have a vocational program where we have been successful at placing many of our folks into jobs. But when they're not in the job, they will be learning skills at our day center at West Farms. So they will not be home unless there's a medical appointment or they're not feeling well. They will not be home during the day. They'll be attending the programs.
Well, what type of care is really required for them?
Well, with our staff, there'll be at least 2 staff on around the clock. They'll help cooking and cleaning and really helping them to be a little bit more independent, whatever skills that they need to learn. But there'll always be staff on, at the site.
All right. Do they have to do any renovations to the property at 2436 Kingsland?
Other than putting in some fire safety, so we always have fire alarms and to make sure that God forbid something happens during the overnight. No, we won't be taking down walls or anything major like that, but we will be running some more fire safety technology to make sure it's safe for them, and it also becomes safer for the other people in the building as well.
What about a ramp? Will there need to be a ramp created for these men so that they're
all
not in wheelchairs?
No, all these individuals are ambulatory. Again, they're a little bit more skilled than a lot of the people that we support. And none of them right now. I mean, that may change as they get older. As all of us get older, sometimes our ambulation status changes. But right now, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to be in this building, because it has a nice elevator. It'll be good for our folks.
That house on Kingsland Avenue has an elevator?
It does not have an elevator.
No,
That does not.
It's a house.
That's what I thought.
What's that, Teresa?
No, it's a house. It's a house.
Right. Okay. When you said elevator, I was also thinking of a chairlift if needed. Is it a 1-story or 2-story house?
It's a split level. On the first floor, you have the living room and the bedrooms, and then there's a little stairs that goes into the kitchen and the dining room area and a laundry area, and then it leads out to the backyard.
Okay. And have you checked to see if there are any known complaints about this property from the buildings department?
Yeah, that's always part of our process, and I'm assuming right now that there aren't. I know that there are not anything that is outstanding, but that's always part of the process with OPW and our architect, and anything will be cleared up if that is the case. But right now there isn't, to our knowledge.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do you have any questions, Rich?
Yeah, I think you covered most of my questions, so thank you for that. No, thank you. That was good. That was awesome. I think Robert Press, are you on?
Well, now we would. Well,
I'm here. I have a few questions, having gone through this from Community Board 8.
Robert, not a few. I think you have to give other people of the public could ask one, but not several.
Robert consults for the housing committee, so I think they wanted to give him some time to ask. So, Robert, okay. Robert, go ahead, ask your questions. Yep.
Okay. Do any of these adults have a criminal record or have any problems with drugs or anything else?
No, they do not.
And I don't know if the age was mentioned of these men.
They're all middle-aged.
And what's the highest age, though, and the youngest age?
40 to 60.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you purchasing the house?
Yes.
Can I ask you what the price is?
I think that's a negotiation right now.
If I may, someone has on a radio or whatever.
I think Robert's out right now.
Okay, I have one more final question.
Go ahead.
Are these men able to dress themselves, eat by themselves, and function as regular people?
Well, they are regular people. They do have some support. That's why we have staff that'll be there around the clock. But they have different needs, and then the staff are trained to help them, be as independent as possible.
But you didn't answer if they're able to dress themselves.
Yes, they're able to dress themselves. Again, some of our individuals do have some CP, they do have some difficulties. Even if they're not using a wheelchair, that doesn't mean that they don't have some mobility issues.
So you're telling me then that they might be in wheelchairs?
No.
No? Okay.
Time, right?
Okay, I'm finished then. Thank you.
I think Robert.
Whoever had, Rich,
yep.
I think you should be able to mute everybody.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think Robert was, in the.
Yeah, that was Robert.
Yeah, but we're good now.
Okay.
So I think we're gonna open it up to the gallery, correct? And I took a tally of who's going first. So I think Chrissy, you had a question. You had your hand up first. I have everybody, by the way. So Chrissy, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was next, but thank you.
Yep.
So my question is just regarding maintenance of the house. What is the maintenance plan? How frequently is, the exterior maintained? Any kind of landscaping, those kinds of things?
We have professional landscapers that come every week. We have people who take care of the snow, people who take care of planting, all of that, outside of the traditional, so it'll be above and beyond what the staff on site will be doing. We have a department, engineering department. We have about 35 maintenance people that attend all of our sites. I can assure you that the house will look as good as any other house on that block. That's something we're very proud of, and make sure that we want to be good neighbors. And if there's ever an issue, you can call myself or Teresa, or we'll make sure we provide numbers so that any neighbor can give us a call and make sure that we're certainly meeting, the expectations of our neighbors.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Okay, up next, thank you for that question, Chrissy, is Janine. Unmute you.
Hi, everybody. How are
Hi,
you?
how are you?
Okay,
Wait, hold on a second. You hear me? Okay, sorry.
you're fine.
I think I got this down with COVID, right?
Mhm.
I got several questions.
Sure.
Actually found out from the community board, and I brought it to my neighbor's attention because I'm very involved in the Bronx. On the block. I was
Okay.
born on this block. I've been on this block my whole life, raising kids. There are a lot of kids there, so I've seen this block, people come and go.
Mm-hmm.
And I have all respect for what people are trying to do with special needs kids, trying to, like the Gersh experience, they're trying to get them into the world, into
Sure.
a proper setting. One first concern, this is a 2-bedroom house, a small house. I've been in it myself prior. You're
Mm-hmm.
talking about 5 middle-aged men and staff. How is this possible?
Teresa, you want to help with that?
So I know that the house right now is 2 bedrooms, and we are gonna walk through. The second bedroom is a large bedroom. It has a closet space in there. Our engineer already done their walkthrough, and they're able to figure out how they're gonna make the configuration for the individuals to be able to live there. Definitely they're gonna be sharing a room. I mean, each person will not be able to have their own room. But as I expressed to you before, we have a second level as well, which is quite huge. And so we won't be using the first level for any kind of dining, right? So they were able to kind of like came up with a plan as to how they're going to make the 5 people fit in their in the home.
Okay.
Just
Plus
to mention.
staff. You
Yeah,
mentioned
again,
plus staff that's helping them, so that's
Sure.
more than 5 people in a 2-bedroom house.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are certain requirements that OPW, our funding source, requires. There's a square footage allotment, and this certainly fits within the square footage that we can put, safely put 5 people in and still have room for, recreation and eating and dining and everything else. Believe it or not, we're in some very small apartments here in Manhattan that are, probably even smaller. It's just, it's sometimes a city living, but it certainly meets all the requirements of our funding source.
Joe,
Okay.
all right, this is Sandy. Will the staff have a room or an area for themselves? So, and
No.
if so,
No, what we do is have either laptops or, if there's any data that people have to take just to measure progress and goals. But, there won't be, unless there's maybe a little spot in the basement. If there's a basement, we could sometimes create. But that's not a concern.
My concern is at night, these 5 learning, these young adults that
And
are
young
learning
adults.
to live on their own are going to be left
No.
unstaffed at night.
No,
So then where's the
again,
staff sleeping?
the staff do not sleep. We have 24 hours coverage. It's a shift model. Again, it's 6 to 2, 2 to 10, and 10 to 6 in the morning, and they're required to be up at night. There is no sleep. The staff do not sleep. It's not accommodations for the staff. It's only for the people who live there.
Yeah,
Okay.
you had mentioned that before. And
Right.
is there any substitutes just in case a staff member can't come in? Then what
Yes.
happens?
We have what we call floating or temporary staff, and then we also have several temp agencies that we deal with to make sure that we're always covered.
Okay.
Okay.
My next question. This is a high traffic block. There's no speed bump. We've tried many times to get speed bumps. It's very high, it's a double yellow line. And now you're talking about bringing buses in to commute these 5 individuals because they're probably going to go back to Boston Road for their services.
The Bayside, sure.
So now we're going to have buses on a high traffic block, which is dangerous.
The bus will stop. I mean, it doesn't have to stop right in front of the house. If there's something around the corner or on an adjacent street, we can certainly do that. If that makes it better for the block and for the safer for the individuals, we'll certainly do that. Again, we're in just about every community here in the city, from Manhattan to Staten Island, You know, we're again, we have our own transportation company. We're very used to busy roads and making sure people are safe and not clogging up the streets for our neighbors.
Okay, well, this falls into place. This is what I'm trying to understand. There is a UPC housing entity across on Allenton Avenue that they built up through the years.
Right.
I'm not sure if you're aware of it. Is that part of your organization?
No.
Okay.
That's ADAPT. That's what it used to be called CP City. Now they changed their name a couple of years ago to ADAPT Services.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our sister agency. We both started, again, when there were no services for people with CP. Usually, it actually started off with children. All of our service started off first with recreation, then education, now clinical services, medical. We've kind of grown over the years as our folks have gotten older, and the needs have increased. But I'm very familiar with ADAPT, and we speak all the time together. But that's not our agency.
Okay, my last question is, and please don't I don't want to offend anybody here.
Okay.
Like I said, it's a small house, and I've seen a lot go on the block.
Sure.
I know the prices of real estate. The house is going for $535,000 or whatever it's going for a 2-bedroom. You're basically getting nothing. Now there are 2 vacant houses on the block that your business could get probably for, oh my God, pennies maybe if you paid the back taxes of the dead people, excuse my French, that the city has done nothing about. And you could get a bigger living arrangement for these 5 young men. How come you chose to look at such?
Well, as you mentioned, if there's back tax issues and things that the state, again, we're funded by OPWD, and they might not have the ability to work with those issues. But if you think that there's something next door or right in the same block that would better meet the needs, I'm certainly interested in hearing that, and we'll consider that as well.
Okay, my last question. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So now, what made you choose this area, being that your office is on Boston Post Road? Like, why wouldn't you consider something more closer to the facilities?
Again, we're in almost every neighborhood here in the city. That's not our office. That's just where our day setting is.
But that's where they'll be getting service, won't they?
Again, their day services. Again, but we have people who are working in the community. They're working in businesses, everything from Amazon to local shops and stores. So, we're everywhere here in the city. Whatever meets their skill level and what what they want to do with their lives, and we have a clinic there also. We have doctors, dentistry, everything in there, which is also open to the community if anybody wants to visit. But again, we're in almost every neighborhood. We think this is a good neighborhood, has a lot to offer for our folks. We want to be good neighbors and have the opportunities you have, because it is a good place to be.
Totally agree. My last question, since you brought up,
This will be the last question, Janine.
Oh, wow.
We have more people who need to ask questions.
I know.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what, Janine?
Answering legit questions that could put my neighbors at
Agreed. So got it. Okay, let's go. Yeah, that makes sense.
So with that being said, I work, and I know people that are in the autistic world, and I know, and I don't want to offend anybody, but there are sometimes behavioral issues.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of kids on the block.
But again, the folks who the state asks us to take and who we know, that's not their issues. That's why the state is saying that these folks have less issues and are pretty independent. That's why they referred them to us to develop this home for. And again, they're not unknown to us. That we've been serving them already for many years. And we all get upset sometimes, and that's why we do have staff. That's one of the things that if they do get upset, that we have support there, and they have the support there. But they have never acted out to any community members or have done anything that is dangerous to anybody, in that way.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we also have individuals that are living on their own with autism, with staff support in that neighborhood. And just to let you know, I mean, I came from the OMH mental health world, and our individuals, I can tell you, I can attest to that. I've never experienced where I've ever gotten any kind of complaints from the community about any disruption in the community that our individuals are at fault. As a matter of fact, because they're vulnerable, people will take advantage of them. That it's always the other way around.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, my last question, are you buying or is this a renting?
No, we're buying the house.
Bye. All right. Thank you. Nick, I think you're next. I'm gonna mute you.
Very much. I'm Nick Leshy. I live a couple of doors down. I have 2 kids and a wife, and I work at the Botanical Garden, and I teach at Fordham University. Thank you for taking the time to hear. I just learned about this yesterday. I was coming back from teaching, and my wife heard about it. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to voice our questions and concerns.
Thank you for having us.
Most of the questions I had about accessibility, I was worried that they would need to remodel or do something to the property. That was answered. My primary question was, how will this change the character and quality of the mostly residential neighborhood, right, with a lot of kids and seniors? So I was worried about traffic and safety. You seem to have addressed. So the big question I have now is, after these 5 men, they move on, whatever happens to them, what is the procedure then for filling those spaces and those beds? Because I forgive my ignorance. I'm not very familiar with a lot of cerebral palsy. I understand it's mostly a motor disability, but I've heard that especially in men and adults, and correct me if I'm wrong, that 25% also have behavioral issues, including anger and conflict. So if you're placing people here that are more independent and can go out, I am concerned about the safety issues. And then the buses, that is a huge issue. So even if it's at the corner, I mean, that intersection alone has had traffic and accidents. And so thank you for answering my question.
That's okay. Well, again, these folks are pretty independent, and they really don't have those issues. When our folks do get upset, usually it's either because they're frustrated, they can't communicate, and that's why we have staff that really know them well and will be able to help them through that frustration if that's the case. Although that's not the case with these individuals that we've known for many years. Again, I mentioned to you that although we are CP, these individuals, we serve other issues, like people who are just IDD, intellectually disabled, so not necessarily have CP. A lot of our homes that are standalone homes like this, in the future, we do put a ramp if it helps them to, just as you or I may need a ramp if our house can have that as we get older. So we do try to keep people in the home as long as we can. Nobody moves from our homes unless they want to, because either they pass away or they find something else they want to be there. Most of the individuals that we support are in their homes for 30, 40 years, until they pass away. When that occurs, the state has a list of folks who are in need of services, again, mostly from the neighborhood, from the Bronx, and we will pick somebody who would be fit in well with the individuals who are living there as a good housemate. So this is their home, just like, you have your home, and we want to be, great neighbors. I think we are great neighbors. Like I said, we've been doing this for a very long time. And, we have a long track record. We've been serving the Bronx and the communities and families of the Bronx for, I would say, 50 years.
Rich, I have a question. It's Sandy. Who will be preparing the meals for these men? Will they be doing it themselves, or will the meals be brought in?
No, we have staff that'll support them 24 hours. We would be hopefully teaching them to do it for themselves as best they can. But we have staff who are always there to provide oversight and to make sure it's safe for them, and teach them to be as independent as possible.
All right, thank you.
Rich. Hi, Rich.
Juanita, I think you're up next. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Joe, Teresa. My question is, I have two questions. One, is this the IRA, ICF, or supportive?
This is an IRA, an individualized residential alternative. I could spit it out.
We can't hear you. Could you try to get better reception? A little bit.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So the fire drills that happens monthly. Is this going to be a pull station, central station, and will it be at a volume that will affect the neighbors?
We do have fire drills, and if we can make it attached to central station, so that they can respond, God forbid, if there ever is a fire. If that's the case, we shut the central station off while we do drills. It is loud. It is meant to wake people up at night, for the people who live there. But again, we have not had issues with our current system for any other neighbors in our homes across the boroughs. But if that is the case, we can certainly tone it down a little bit as long as it's still effective for our individuals. And we don't have monthly overnight drills. They're only sometimes during the day. Sometimes on weekends, we try to vary the shift. This way, all the staff are trained to make sure everybody gets out in time. God forbid there is ever a fire. But overnight drills are only done either quarterly or semi-annually, depending on the skill level of the folks.
And one more question. With the fire drill, is it a 3-minute evacuation or 13?
I believe it's 3 minutes because these individuals are pretty independent.
Independent. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Joe,
Okay.
I have a question. It's Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
Could the community be notified a day in advance of the drill so that they would be aware of it?
That'll be tricky. We try to make it so that staff are not aware of it, so they're really surprised and can act in. But I'm sure there's something we can work out. The house manager will know. There's always some kind of administrator around because usually a manager has 1 or 2 homes or maybe even 3 homes, depending on the size of the homes. So that person will know when the drills are being run, and we could, I'm sure there's a way we can let you know in advance so that you don't get startled.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Up next is Robert Zoida. I'm gonna mute you. Go ahead, if you can.
Oh, hi guys.
Yep.
I live directly next door to the property that you guys are discussing. I have a couple questions, a lot of concerns. Let's start with the questions.
Okay.
There's no driveway for the property. They have no driveway. To drop off, the buses would have to block other driveways. There's lots of elderly people on the block. There's a lot of MTA workers, police officers, doctors, lawyers that are in and out of their driveways all hours at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Should not be inconvenienced for having their property blocked by buses or vehicles because the property doesn't have an adequate driveway to accommodate these 5 gentlemen.
Right.
So that's one. Second, behavioral issues. I live in the house directly next door. I have 3 very small children.
Mm-hmm.
And then next to me is my neighbor on the right has 2 young children. And then next to them has another couple. We're concerned about the behavioral issues and with the neighbors being so close in proximity in the area, they're literally a couple feet away from me.
Sure.
So that's alarming to us in the community, in the neighborhood. We've been here our whole lives. Parking is going to be an issue as well. So now you're taking away from people that own properties that are renting to individuals. You could be decreasing the property value because now they can't find adequate parking on the block. So there's a lot of concerning factors here, Joe. And my main concern is, you sound like a great guy. I believe everything you're saying about these guys, but is there anything tangible that we could review on these 5 individuals? You could be saying they're the best people in the world, and then we really don't know. Maybe they do have a criminal background. Maybe they do have some kind of addiction or something that you're not aware of. Any kind of sex offender or anything like that. We could take your word for it, but we need something tangible that we could review if possible.
Well, there are privacy issues, for the individuals that just like anybody else, we're not, I'm not at liberty to kind of just,
So we got to take your word for it.
Yeah, I mean, this is being recorded, and I'm certainly, again, we've been in business for a very long time, and we are good neighbors. We're in apartment right now in the Bronx, in every borough. We're in apartment buildings. We're in semi-attached homes. We're like I said, in most neighborhoods throughout the city here. So I certainly
Not in this neighborhood. You got this neighborhood.
I understand the issues that you bring up, and I respect what you're saying. I understand why you're apprehensive. But our goal is to make sure that these, as we said before, that they have a good home and the good neighbors. And you will have staff that are there. You will have management that is there, people that you can call if there's any issues, to make sure everything is addressed. Again, the OPW, the state wouldn't be asking us to take these individuals. And as I said, we know them for many years. If we didn't think that they'd be successful.
That's a good point.
They do not have any sex offender issues. They do not have any drug issues. That's not who we support.
I want to.
Yeah, but how do I get on?
Quickly, sorry. In terms of if there is an issue that the community wants to bring up when you guys kick off, how would we?
Jeremy, can you hear me?
Who's speaking?
This is.
Okay. So, Joe, so if there's an issue, how can the community get to you?
Again, I will personally give you my personal information, my email address, my telephone number. That's always on 24 hours a day. The site will have site management that's also responsive, so that there will be always people that any issue that comes up somebody can reach out to. We'll make sure we address it right away.
Rich, this is Sandy. Yep. I have a suggestion.
Sure.
Since there is no driveway for this property, maybe signage could be made on the sidewalk or whatever, like do not park here except for UPC vehicle or whatever, so that the vehicles would not be blocking other properties.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
It was just, then how would they do it? Then what is this the only property that has no driveway?
That would encourage more traffic. The point is to reduce the traffic, not encourage more. Have that be a frequent bus stop. For people to.
It's not going to.
Right, and if you talk to the 49th precinct, they could tell you and give you a report of several accidents that have happened on this block already. I've witnessed several myself on the corner, on the block. It's endangering for us as the community, everybody, the residents that are looking to move it. Is this a done deal, Joe? Is it like?
Let's do this. So, given that the parking is now a little bit of a contentious issue, let's let's work on that. It seems like we're not totally against the idea. We understand where people are coming from, but the parking may be an issue. So let's work on that moving forward. Given the fact that
it's not just parking though. It's traffic and safety.
Yep. Correct. So what I think we should do is continue to work on the main issues, like you just said, traffic and safety, parking. It's not built yet. It's not bought yet. It's in progress. So I think it's one of those things where let's continue the conversation.
It's not a business. This is a residential home.
No, Nick, what I'm telling you is that we should continue to have the conversations. Right.
Can I say something?
Robert, you didn't have anything else. Robert.
Jeremy, can you tell me when I can speak, please?
You have to raise your hand.
Rich, thanks for following up with me. Yes, no, that's all I had. Just like the other neighbor down the block said, lots of children on the block. We know that people with cerebral palsy come with behavioral issues. Not all of them, obviously. It's not, and we have the utmost respect for them, for everyone. It's a wonderful neighborhood, but we don't want no issues going forward with the children. There's a lot of children out all day long. There's no driveway. We've seen several accidents already. So we ask you to please reconsider the location. Please try to find another spot. I could attest for it, and on behalf of several people on the block, I'm the direct next door neighbor. we all would rather not have these gentlemen living here. And with all due respect, we appreciate everything you're trying to do for them, but if you could find another location, we would really appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Robert. Up next is Jen Jager. I'm gonna unmute you.
Hi, yeah, I grew up in the house next door and my parents still live there. And my father is going to be 90 years old. So my main concern is with my parents and their safety. So I'm a little concerned too, because I know the house. As a kid, I was in it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
5 adult males, I don't see how they would fit. Sorry, my battery is low. I might lose
That's
it.
okay.
And so 5 adult males, and then you'll have at least one other adult there. I just don't see that it's conducive.
Well,
So
again,
I definitely think it's too small. And then also, I had a question. Who will be doing the inside cleaning?
the combination of the staff who are there, and at times we'll have like weekly a service come in to make sure everything stays nice and clean. In addition to what
I know about the staff.
Go ahead, continue, Joe.
we will have a cleaning service come in just to make sure it stays tip top. But again, that's one of the skills that the individuals who will live there will be learning, and that's why one of the reasons why we have staff to help them, learn how to clean and cook and do all that, themselves as all adults do. Again, I respect the fact that you have an older person there. Hopefully, we can be good neighbors and have barbecues or do whatever your father likes to do. We can enjoy, with them, and again, be neighborly. We have no intention of disrupting the neighborhood or
My parents are, like you said, I like that you say you want them to be good neighbors, because my parents are the best neighbors anyone could ask for.
That's
so
great.
I just do not want any issues for them. And my question is, would you have these 5 men live next door to your parents and you?
Yes. I've been doing this for 35 years. I have a relative who has autism. I believe in what I do. I would have any one of the people that we support live right next to me. As a matter of fact, I was a house parent. I've lived in the house with people who have special needs for many years. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't believe in what we were doing and helping people to be good neighbors, have productive lives, and be great adults.
I don't know if you can guarantee that they wouldn't have any issues.
I can't guarantee that I won't have any issues.
My parents,
Can I?
You can guarantee that they would not be in danger of any behavioral issues, nothing like that.
Again, I can't guarantee anything, but the knowledge that I have of the individuals and how long we've been serving them, they do not pose any kind of threat.
Joe, plus there's
Up next.
Can I ask a question?
No, you must raise your hand and there's a list. Once you.
I'm on the phone.
No, I understand that, but we have a list, so please give me a second, okay? Irene, you're next. Thank you. Irene, you can go ahead.
And what's Irene's last name, Rick?
I'm not sure. It doesn't say.
She better tell us.
Jeremy, can you hear me?
Jeremy's not chairing the meeting. I am. Me and Sandy.
Okay, and who's this? Chris?
This is Rich Reynoso. I'm trying.
Hi,
to
Rich. You said it's my turn to speak?
Yes, it is. You can go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
My question is,
Irene, we want to know your last name.
It's Irene Estrada, and I'm the district leader for the 80th, and I reside 2424 Kingsland Avenue.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, my question is, being a former member of the board, we always have notifications for the residents when we have either group homes or any kind of changes within the community. My question is that, when did you guys find out that they were planning to buy this particular home?
I believe we just recently found out.
For over a year and a half.
Yeah, but I think but the board was just notified of the situation.
For
Yeah,
for
but
over a year and a half.
the question is
Yeah.
when do we know this home? And it was just recently. That's why we notified the board.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
so the board was notified just recently, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I notified Jeremy, I think it's maybe, what, 3-4 weeks ago?
Okay. So my question is that, you know that you want to have disabled residents in the community. I am very concerned because, again, even with accessoride is a little bit too wide for our block, meaning in pickup and dropping off the adults from their appointments or from wherever they have to go. It's going to create havoc in traffic, number one. People fly through here all the time. We have submitted information for the bump for years. And being a board member, this particular block, we have a lot of residents have worked so hard for their properties and for their communities. And to have this change it's not that it's not acceptable. It's that you have to make it where it's not going to inconvenience the residents, not only with the traffic and the money that they have paid for the community, the money that they have paid for their homes, and then to alter the community and the district. Is that going to affect the real estate level of their money? Is that going to decline their property values when having these particular homes, whether they be group homes, whether they be addicts, whether they be handicapped, whatever it might be? We have a crisis in New York City right now. There are marriages throwing all kinds of people into different communities. As a minister, we always take care of the poor and the needy. But I also want to make sure that this community understands that we want to make sure that they're being held, someone has to be held accountable if this particular home is established here on Kingsland Avenue. Accountable, meaning that we want it in paper. If this is a done deal and it's going to happen, that they will never put people who have issues on our block other than those who are in rehabilitation. Not rehabilitation, but handicap, as you have called them. Does that make a lot of sense to all the residents? Because I think that their concern is public safety, number one, traffic, number two, economically, number three, spiritually, mentally, physically, and spiritually. I mean, mentally, we're going through a lot of crises and we don't want no trauma on our block. So can you please give me something in letter, a legal form of letter stating that if this is a done deal and if it's going to happen, we don't want the home to decide a year later, oh, we're going to put high-risk youth on the house instead of the people that we have set out to help in the beginning. Or let's put on a shelter for domestic violence, whereas people don't know where they reside, and there's no track record or report to the police nor to the families. So I wanted to make sure that I think that our community deserves that respect, that if you can give us a legal paper stating that this is the only kind of people you're going to be taking care of, I think that the community would say yes. If it's not, and you cannot give us a security blanket over this, then I think that the residents would say no. But that's my opinion as an activist.
Okay.
Thank you, Irene. That was helpful. Go ahead, Joe.
First of all, our funding stream, OPWD, this is the only folks that they support, and this is the only folks that we support. If we were ever to, which we would not, as I mentioned to, this is their home. Our intention is to keep them there as long as they want to be there, and unless they can pass away. But if any other kind of change of use for the home would be proposed, we'd have to come to the community board again and ask for that.
Can you repeat that, Joe?
If any kind of other use of the home, if there's a proposal for a change in use, we would have to come to the community board and ask for that permission again, just as we are now. The people, again, that we support have intellectual disabilities, IDD. As far as the traffic issue goes, again, if there's a way, we deal with this all the time. We're very used to this. And again, if there's a way we could either go to one side of the corner or another corner, or provide other ways of pickup and drop-offs, which, by the way, are pretty quick. These individuals are ambulatory. The young lady mentioned that her dad is 90, so however long it takes, for them to get out, was probably individuals could get in and out of their vehicle even quicker. But it's early in the morning. Usually the day hab starts, 7 in the morning, and I would say a drop off and a pickup lasts about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes at most. But we can help go to the community board with you and whoever else we need to go to maybe put a speed bump if that's an issue that the neighbors are dealing with. We can help you fight that issue and try to make congestions better. We have done that in the past because we do serve the people that we do. Sometimes we have a little more leverage. We can help you get what you've been asking for a long time. Again, we have no intentions of causing havoc. Every one of our existing homes, the prices of our homes or any other home in the neighborhood, I could give you 100% assurance they have never dropped. As a matter of fact, I have studies on our existing homes, and the property value increases consistently with the neighborhood, as all of our homes have. There is no evidence to say that our homes was any kind of price drop in any neighborhood that we're in. As I said, I have 200 different sites, from standalone homes to apartments, co-ops, condos, rentals. We were in every living environment here in the city that has to offer, and there's never been an issue with any kind of value dropping.
All right, thank you, Joe.
76 years.
Thank you. Telephone number 718.
I just want to add one thing to what Joe just said also.
Go ahead.
Teresa.
Go ahead.
It's not, when our individuals come to live with us, it's a very difficult process. Or if you don't need it, just put somebody there like that. The family has to agree to it. Yeah, there's a due process involved. It's a very long process. So, it's not just like you just have someone just come there and the person just moving. It does not work like that. Okay, it's not like other programs. Family members have to be on board with everything that's going on. They come and they visit. They make sure that the community is right for their loved ones. So, there's a lot that goes into moving somebody into a community. If that is any assurance to you all.
But we still didn't get an answer. If you receive changes within a year,
No,
and all of a sudden,
they did. They have to come to the community board for changes.
Yeah, but coming to Community Board 11 is not a legal change, because coming to Community Board 11 would be like an advisory board. Let's discuss this, and there's going to be changes. What we want is, can you give us a legal document stating that the only kind of residents you're going to have on this particular block are going to be the people that you attend and take care of, and they are disabled. And I really want you to listen very carefully to me, because this particular block has no respect for life when it comes to traffic, when it comes to speeding. And even if you had a speed bump, people are still going to speed. And we've been at Community Board 11 for years asking them for a speed bump, and they asked me to stand outside with an officer to see how fast that they go. They fly through here. So again, if you can give us that legal document stating that this is the only kind of people you're going to take care of, I think it will be a go. If not, there might be a problem.
All right, thank you for that. So next up is last two digits 07. Don't know your name, so you can go ahead and talk.
Is that me?
Yes, it is.
Can you
Go
hear
ahead.
me?
Yep, you can go for
What's
it.
your name, darling?
My name is Christine Rabando. I live 2418. I'm a few houses down.
Go ahead.
Okay, I have a question about the staff. Did they wear identification when they come and go? Are we going to know these people, or are we going to have a bunch of strangers coming and going on the block that we're going to have to worry about?
The staff all have our agency ID with them. They're vetted before they enter into our agency. They have to have fingerprinting and background checks by the state, OPWDD. They have to be past everything before they're allowed to work with us. They will be trained. They'll have orientation, be trained about how to support our individuals. Most of our staff are here 40 years, if not more. They're dedicated to our agency, dedicated to the people that we support. We do have some turnover, unfortunately, like every agency, and every business today. That right now there's a lot of agencies where there's some vacancies. As I said, if the need occurs, we will have some temp agencies, but again, even those have to be vetted. And no will we be working with the people that we support, because we want to make sure they're protected as well, unless they have background checks and are safe.
And how many people during the day would come and go? I mean,
Again,
where would they
we have
park
a
their
shift. We have
cars?
a shift. I'm sorry?
Where would they park their cars? I mean, I'm sure they're going to come with cars, so they're going to take our
No,
spots.
no,
It
many of
becomes
our,
an issue.
many of our staff use public transportation. They live here in the city, and usually they're taking buses or subways when appropriate. There'll be 2 staff on at any shift, and a manager who will be responsible will be there sometimes during the week. We talked about some maintenance staff to make sure the house looks good. So there will be some staff that go, in and out throughout the week to make sure the house is taken care of and all the needs are met.
Okay, so there'll be familiar faces that we'll see if this does happen.
Of course.
Okay,
Again,
thank you very much for answering my question.
That's okay.
Thank you, Christina. That was helpful. Jack, you're next. I'm going to unmute you.
Oh. Hello. Yep. So I had a quick question for Joe.
Hi.
Joe, you say that you were a house parent and you have a family member with developmental needs, as do I, and I'm sure probably plenty of people here know somebody or have somebody close family wise. But let me ask you, how much did you make last year?
I don't feel that that's relevant.
That's public record. Anybody could Google it. So you made just a smidge under 300 grand.
Sure. No, but you can certainly look that up if you choose to.
Which it says that you made just about 273,000 last year. So you do have a financial interest in doing this, and a great one. You probably make more money than most people on this call and most people that live in this neighborhood.
Okay.
Which I think people should be aware.
My salary does not depend on this house or any other house.
I mean, I'm sure it depends on your performance ability, does it not?
No.
No. So if you did nothing, then you would still get paid the same salary?
Has nothing. My salary is not tied to this house or any other house that we support.
But it's tied to what you do, correct? And this is a part of what you do.
People with developmental disabilities, yes.
Let's get to a question, please.
No, that was my question, which he didn't want to close, and I think everybody should be aware of that when it comes to his credibility and everything that he's promising us.
Okay.
Very good. I'll note it in the minutes. All right. Anything else, Jack?
I don't think that something that you guys are willing to put into legal writing that it's only going to be with people that have these developmental needs. Also, the house, you're talking about people that are potentially handicapped and wheelchaired. You have a bunch of steps at the house. So you guys eventually, if you decided that you need to switch up a spot and put somebody in there that has a wheelchair, you guys would have to create a ramp, which would be an issue because there's a huge concrete wall there. The steps are gated. And I think that those are things that you guys are just not addressing properly. So, and I think everybody should be aware of that, and you guys should take serious note of how the community feels about this. And this is not something that we are really welcoming.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Luckily, this is being recorded. We'll have minutes afterwards, so I think the concerns are being expressed. Up next is Malcolm Gray. Go ahead.
Hello. Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Good. Hi. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I just want to know, what type of timeline are you looking at, to rolling everything out after the closing of the house? And what type of procedures, are you on implement to ensure that everything is rolled out smoothly and efficiently?
Unfortunately, we're beholden to some of the state procedures. Sometimes they're having problems with their orders, make sure that they come in and we'll have a bidding process to make sure that any fire safety systems are put in place, or painting or anything else we're doing to the house. So there's not a strict timeline. Sometimes the house takes up to a year to by the time it gets up to speed, but anywhere between 6 months to a year will be the whole process to make sure, again, everything's safe, that the place looks nice, painting. We have staff at hand, but we'll make sure that anybody who knows them will be working with them, be trained. And it takes about 6 months to a year.
All right, awesome. And I know that you guys are contracted with the city and the state, right?
Well, with OPWDD, the state.
Right. So then, from your experience, the community is able to get, be able to review that contract as public, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Our house will be licensed, and we'll have an operating certificate.
Okay, yeah, because I just wanted to bring that up because I know a lot of people are, concerned about, you know, who will be residing in the house, you know, whether it'll be strictly for that program. So, you know, just definitely able to get access to that. That'd be great.
We have at least 2 audits from the outside, from the state, that come in every year just to make sure that everything is as it should be, that the people are learning, that they're in good living conditions, the staff are trained, you know, everything that we're saying here that we get audited all the time on. And again, those results are public record.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
I believe that is all in terms of the public gallery.
There's another young lady trying to raise her hand.
Where? Jay, again, Chrissy, go ahead then, yeah?
I'm sorry, because of the conversation, a couple of other questions came up. So thank you so much. I'm on the fence. I've heard a couple of people say we don't want this, and I don't appreciate that because I'm not necessarily in that camp yet. And I do believe that people deserve to have safe homes in nice places, whether they have disabilities or not. But
disability.
One concern that I had that was raised earlier, and I really appreciate it, is about the fire alarms. I think I heard that would be heard throughout the neighborhood. Is that true?
Not the neighborhood. It's certainly, again, it's the point of the fire alarm is to make sure that, God forbid, of the fire, that people will get up out of dead of sleep. That's the requirement. So if they're sleeping 3 o'clock in the morning, that it'll be loud enough to wake them up. Again,
inside the house.
Inside the house, right? There's no alarms outside of the house.
Okay.
If they're very loud and disturbing the neighbors, then of course we could adjust the volume on them. We will have control over that.
Thank you.
As long
Okay.
as people get up, and if they're not getting up, there are other things we could do, like put little vibrators on the bed to make sure that also wakes them up, so you don't have to rely on the sound only. So there's certainly things we could do to make sure that we're good neighbors and adjust it.
Okay, yeah, the fact that we could negotiate that with you is important. We have a lot of issues in our neighborhood with fireworks.
I see.
And we're kind of dealing with that all summer long in the middle of the night, and I can't, if something else was added, I think I would lose my mind. And then the speed bump, I heard you say that is something that could be potentially negotiated if this went through. I, as a resident, would welcome a speed bump. So
yeah, again, we have done that in other homes that we've we live on. And if that helps the neighbors and it makes it safer, then we'll certainly work with everybody else in the block there and make sure that any leverage we can have on that, we will certainly put forward.
Joe, this is Sandy. For your information, I think that 2400 block has been trying for more than 20 some odd years to get a speed bump. All that was put in recently were 2 stop signs at the ends of the block. Am I correct? Whoever lives there?
No, it's wrong.
There is no, at Waring Avenue, there is no stop sign. People speed through here like crazy.
Well, we will definitely work with the community and the community board to do everything that we can within our power. We, have sometimes connections with some political individuals that maybe we could have some sway and get that for the safety of the neighbors and the children on the block as well.
All right, next, Jason.
Wow.
Jason, go ahead. I'll come back to you, Jason. Bernadette, you can go.
Hi, thank you, Rich.
Hi.
My name is Bernadette Farrar, and while I do not live on Kingsland Avenue, I'm a board member, Community Board 11 board member. But also I do have, just so that you know, I do have a severely autistic brother that has been in a group home for over 30 years over in the Wakefield area. So I'm very accustomed to how a good group home handles and, what clients there need chaperoning, etc., as to their needs. So I'm asking these questions. If I'm repeating myself or if it's been repeated already, I apologize.
Okay.
So my question is, what are the ages of the residents that are going to be there?
Again, they're middle of age. They're from about 40 to 60.
60 years old, 40 to
Yeah.
60?
Yes.
Okay, so, okay, I thought they were starting at 18 years old. I had read
Well,
that,
that's
but,
in order to get services from OPWD, you can be 18.
Okay.
But the age range that these folks are,
Okay.
40 to 60.
Okay, do any of the men, and it's men, it's just men, am I correct?
Yes.
Any of the men have to be chaperoned at any time, because of whatever their special needs are?
Well, again, they'll have support in the community just because they're not independent. So, they don't know exactly how to use transportation all on their own or make a purchase on their own. Again, the things that we all do to be, to live in the community, so that they will have staff with them. Yes.
Okay, and the other thing, are any of these, residents, do they come from Community Board 11 and from the Bronx?
They are all in the Bronx. I don't know specifically from this particular area.
Okay.
Again, they're all currently attending our day setting. So again, which is in the Bronx in West Farms.
Okay, because many of the times, and we have dealt with group homes in Van Nest also. So
Okay.
this is a very common,
Sure.
common questions, because a lot of times we always question, we want to take care of our own first, and we never get a chance to do that because everybody comes from all over the places
Right.
and looks for inexpensive real estate. And that's one of the issues, that, seems to always be a priority, and
Sure.
we all know about that. But, we have a very good active community board here, and we want to take care of the people in our community first as a priority. And it gets kind of disturbing that everybody comes from all over the place and we can't take care of our own. So,
No, again, we've been in each borough. Again, we want to keep people close to their families and
Yes.
communities that they're familiar with. That's our goal. All these folks are from the Bronx here.
Okay, but they're not from the neighborhood, so they're going to be unfamiliar whether they're from West Farms or they're from if they're from Kingston, they're not going to be familiar, because I wouldn't be familiar in, the
Sure.
South Bronx area, because I'm from the area that, my community. So, my other thing, you said that most of the managers, et cetera, are going to be coming with public transportation. Is there public transportation for people coming to that block of Kingsland, or how far would they have to walk? If they're coming from public transit, is there a bus that stops right there?
No. Nope.
So how are, they're going to be coming with cars? I'm sure they're not going to be taking Ubers.
No, that's correct.
So
again, most of the majority of our staff, we have 3,000 employees. Most of them take public transportation. So if they have to walk a few blocks, whether it be a subway or a bus, that's how our staff get to work. Even if it's a little bit of a long walk, that's what they do.
yeah, it's not going to be good in the rain and the snow and the whole thing like that. We all know that. So,
Yeah, but
but I really do think any kind of legal document or something like that would calm a lot of situations, because once everything is settled, you guys go away, and then the community has to deal with things, and you've got to find a way to work with the community if you want them to work with you. So that's
agreed.
I think
But our funding source will only fund the people that we're allowed to support. I mean, that's all OPWDD serves, is people with developmental disabilities. As I mentioned, if any other kind of housing, which again, we have never done that in the 76 years we've been in business. If the kind of home the people that we would support would change, we would have to come and ask you for that as well.
Well, I just want to tell you that I hear you, and I don't know your credibility, and most of the people here don't know it also.
Sure.
But we had similar situations where group home, everybody sounded great on paper and the whole thing, and then as soon as a group home got in there, and this was, I think Jeremy will remember, this is the one on Hunt Avenue, with a different, not you, but a different management, etc. And it caused an issue, and then they wanted to have another group home around the corner, and we were like, we can't stop the group home that's there, but we were not very happy because of how they managed it, and everybody voiced their opinion, and that other group home did not happen. So It's very important. Thank you.
Great, that's okay.
Thank you, Vernon. That's very helpful. Jason, I'm going to try you again. Go ahead. Jason, you may need to log out and log back in. No one can. All right. So we'll circle back. Try logging back in. Juanita, you raised your hand again. Go ahead. Juanita?
You guys can hear me?
Yep, you're good.
I do have a question. I don't know if maybe this would put the board, the community, sorry, at ease, but is it possible to have a meet and greet once the people moved in or before they moved in, just so that one, the community's familiar with the faces and the people supported are familiar with the, the neighbors?
Without a doubt, we always, again, we like to have barbecues and open houses, and be bringing cake over and everything else that good neighbors should do when they're moving into a neighborhood. That's
Right.
certainly perfect.
Okay. So will we reach out to the residential manager? How would that be set up?
Again, we would give you contacts for the management. Again, I will be happy to give you my contact information because I've been here 15 years, and many families, many community members know me from my existing homes, and I certainly wanted to make sure that everything that I say comes to pass.
Hello.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juanita. Jason, trying you again before we move on.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, hi. I was just here. I just learned about this a couple of days ago. I am familiar with the OPWDD process. Actually, an uncle of mine is going through the process with a Miss Keaton right now, and she's been walking him around through certain areas. But I am also concerned with how this area of Pelham Parkway has become increasingly densely populated, and to have a home that is very small in stature and size, I'm really concerned with 4 and 5 people living in that home. So I'm also concerned with if the needs of the people in that home increases, or there are more people who want to go into a home in this area, do you see OPWDD erecting a new structure for people who are, maybe say 8 or 9 people? Because I know there's a big need in New York City, and this is it's increasing in densely popularity. So I'm really concerned with how the neighborhood is structured, and I don't think it's really a good fit for a small block with a lot of private homes.
Mm-hmm. Do you mean knocking that building down and putting up another building?
Yeah, as needs are increased, okay.
That's not a possibility.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Sure.
Thank you, Jay. That was a good question. Sandy, I think we're wrapped with the public gallery. I think that's it for now.
Jeremy,
Well,
I had a
No,
question.
no, I have a question.
Wait a minute.
Whoa, 1 second.
They have to raise their hands, and we have to know
raise
who
your
they
hand.
are.
Yes.
I thought I did. I'm sorry, but
Who's talking?
I'm under my husband's name, Robert Gasvoda.
Okay. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay. So I have a question. Is this like a done deal? Does this still need to be voted on? When will the vote take place?
No, it's not a done deal just yet. That's what we're having in this public gallery, where if you have questions, concerns, you bring them up to us, we'll bring it up to them. I know there was a talk about a legal document. I will inquire about that, but no, not just yet.
When will the vote take place? And who can we contact to direct our apprehension to, or let them know what we find?
You're doing it now, but if you have other concerns or questions, you can follow up with the community board.
Okay, so I would contact somebody on the community board. Is there somebody in particular that I would contact?
Rich, maybe we should give them the community board office number. I can do that.
I personally would love to email somebody and let them know what my apprehension is. I understand.
So do you have any further apprehensions, or is it more that I don't understand?
Yes, I have all the things that we've spoken about, but I am also outside on a regular basis with my children. These are 5 grown men with grown men urges who are probably not being completely fulfilled, with kids, a plethora on the street. I'm not entirely comfortable with it. I am directly next door.
I am often outside with half the neighborhood because I'm a stay-at-home mom and I have no problem being outside there with them. But it does make me question whether this is the best place for a home like that.
Okay, noted.
I would love personally to write
We'll
it
get-
all down and get it out and let
Gotcha. What
somebody
we'll do is
know.
we'll send you the we'll contact you for the information so you can reach out. Okay.
Right. You know
Irene.
what?
Uh,
Why don't we give her the give them the office number so that
Sure.
and then
I'll-
all right.
what I'll do is I'll put it in the chat. For people
Okay.
to know.
Okay.
All right. Yep. Irene, you're on deck. Go ahead.
Irene, you must be unmuted.
You're muted.
We
Yep.
can't hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, hear me now?
Yep. You're
Yes.
Okay, good. I would like to request information from this particular agency. You have many homes in different locations across the 5 boroughs, but I want to find out if you can give us a data on how much increase and decrease it affects the property owners. Because one of the people who they don't want to be online text me and they said that wherever you have these particular homes, within the year, they lose 10% of the amount of the property value. And then a year and a half later, it's 13.5%. If you have some type of data stating that if the city pays you this particular property, maybe you say you're going to pay $550,000, and then the city only pays $420,000, then the property value in this particular area will decrease because of your purchase. So my concern is there any possible way you can give the board data so that we can share it with the residents so they can make sure that their properties are not going to be affected, as well as the legal document that I requested, making sure that it stays with the people that you are taking care of only, and stating that it's not going to be changeable, and because we don't want to have this not that you can promise us the stars and the moon, but we need a foundation so that the people in this residential area are respected. Because these people have worked so hard for their properties for years, and some of them have had their grandmothers and grandfathers.
Sure.
We want to make sure we maintain this community as Pelham Gardens is, and they deserve that kind of respect. As a former board member, the other question I do have is that working close with you, getting all this data, making sure that we get all the information correctly, and that if there's any more questions that these particular residents have, they can either submit them to me as their district leader or to Community Board 11 to make sure that we're on top of this, because we don't want anything else to sneak into our communities to torment us, as well as the crisis of the world are already terrorizing us. So we want, they moved to this community to live in peace and to make sure that they have a foundation for their families. And we don't want anything to disrupt that particular foundation that they have grown. So that's my concern. The bottom line, the real estate and the legal paper that I requested, stating that that's the only kind of people that you're going to be housing. Because as the minister, I'm like Bernadette. We take care of everybody across the board, but we've got to take care of our own.
Duly noted. Duly
My only
noted.
point is Kingsland Avenue residents. Thank
Duly
you.
noted. All right. Sandy, I think we're past our time here in terms of
Yes.
the gallery session, and I think in moving forward, if we want to get Joe back to talk more questions, we can do that. Obviously, I put the number of the community board on the chat. Feel free to call if you have comments, questions, concerns, and we'll get back to you. Obviously, this is a conversation; it's not a done deal, but
Right.
I think. Go ahead, Sandy.
In the chat room, I see that Joe gave his a place where you can get in touch with him.
Okay.
So I think, they should be aware of that.
Very good.
Because we have more of the community and not a quorum, then we should call this meeting to an end and thank everyone for joining in and for their participation in this meeting.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.
Good conversation. Have a good night.
I truly appreciate everybody's time.
All right. Have a good night,
And
everyone.
thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, residents. Have a good night.